Today I'm working on this nice GP30. It's a CNO unit. I got this and it was sold to me as not working. In fact, it has a short circuit. So I'm going to be doing a video today on the basics of diagnostics for an N-scale locomotive. So I've got to test this. So I'm going to put it on the track to test it. So I put the other unit on the track so you could see that there is power, but when I put the engine on, it in fact does short circuit. So that can't be good. Oftentimes they don't run because the wheels are dirty, or it happens sometimes the decoder has a problem. So this is a DCC unit. I run DC, of course. You can see the number boards are all done for me on this. So that was easy. So the first problem that I look for is dirty wheels. Now this little guy obviously has never run. So it's not that it's dirty. So I'm going to remove the shell now. So once the shell is off, I look to see if there's anything out of place. Now this looks pretty good actually. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at each component individually. So I'm going to take the locomotive apart and I'm going to start from the motor, and then every time I add something I'm going to see if it still runs. So I begin with the two screws. Actually the gas tank can come off now. So two screws. This one's a little tight. That's okay. I'm gonna survive this. The gas tank should come right off. Well, there goes my screws. There's the gas tank. There's a screw. And there's the other screw. Looks good so far. The light shield. And then the trucks, I want to retain the order in which they were put in. It's nice to have the video, not just for, I just pry at the end and they'll just fall right off. It's not just good for you guys, it's good for me. If I forget the way it was put together first, I can go back and watch them again. So definitely a good thing to do. If you do it yourself at home, I suggest you do take pictures of the way it was put in. These atlas, they're fairly straightforward. So I'm taking the decoder out. Maybe that was the problem. If it's bad, I have extra ones. I always go on eBay and I look for parts. Because I don't run DC, I'll buy these DC boards that people throw out because they're switching to DCC. So I buy them. And on the day I need them, I have them around. Okay, so the two worm gears come out. And then I don't really need to remove the motor from the shell. It will simply I'll be able to see if it runs. Maybe it's the motor that's the problem. So usually I start from the motor and then I see if the motor's okay. I keep adding parts until I get what I want. See, this little bearing's stubborn. Sometimes it just goes like that. Okay, so this, oh, well, there's your problem right there. This is a pin for your, whatchamacallit there, the KD couplers. So that definitely can't help the engine run. So there's an extra part for you that wasn't supposed to be there. I'm pretty sure that was the problem. So I'm going to test my motor now. I always have some test leads handy so I can test everything on my bench. Wow, it runs like it's never been run. So that was easy. I'm going to keep adding parts as I go. So I'll just put the motor, just put its pins back. There. And I'll just loosen the pins just a little bit so I can get my worm gears in there. Everything in this engine is so clean, like it's never been run before. So I'm not going to do a lot of cleaning actually. I don't really need to. So put my two worm gears back in. I have to put the bearings in their proper spot. I'm going to continue doing this off camera so it's not too boring for you guys. So I will test it again. Every time I add a part, I keep testing it. So far, so good. So I'm also listening for noise. If I find that there's too much noise, that means there's interference or something's misaligned. So this one runs really quiet. I'm going to be adding the circuit board now. I'm not even sure if it's DC or DCC. By the looks of it, I would say it's a DC board. So I'm going to add this back on just to make sure that that wasn't the problem. So if you want to convert it to DCC, all you got to do is put a DCC board in there. It still runs great, so it wasn't the problem. If you get one of those engines that has a bad board, then you would know at this point. But this board is fine. So now the trucks go back in. They'll just snap back in there. This is going to be a short video if it works. Sometimes you get lucky, what can I say? This was an easy fix. Also, when I put the screws back in to hold the trucks in, I use gravity like that as my friend. So that will allow me to keep the trucks in. So I'm going to put my screws and I'll test it on the bench. So I'll go ahead and try it again. Runs great. I'll put the gas tank and I'll try it on the track before I put the shell back. That way, if there's a problem, I don't have to take the shell off and I can get right into it. This is going to be a short video. It runs absolutely beautifully. You can do the same thing if an engine's noisy. You keep adding parts one at a time until it starts making noise. Then you know which part is causing the problem. So this will go back in. Should go actually very easily. I'll do that off camera. I'll take my time because it's a beautiful engine. So it was a little bit tight to get it in. I don't really know why. Yeah, it's a beautiful machine. And now it's time to run some trains. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly had fun making it for you. See you soon.